And if that offends you, then I will tell you that I didn't finish it, and that way I please everyone in the room. So it's a guy named Paul Young wrote The Shack, and this is early in the book. It says, most of our hurts come through relationships, and so will our healing. Grace rarely makes sense for those looking in from the outside. Most of our hurts come through relationships, and so will our healing. Grace rarely makes sense for those looking in from the outside. I read that and it felt true, and if my life was a movie and I think about the scenes that I don't know what to do with, or that I wish were different, or I wish I could forget, then the movie would be Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, I just realized. There's other people in those scenes, right? There's other people in the scenes that haunt us, and it's when we lose people, or when someone walks away. It's the end of a relationship. It's when we walk away from someone, or we hurt someone, and live with the guilt or the shame or the weight of that. And so I think maybe to some degree it feels true to say, okay, wounds happen in the context of other people. We don't just hurt ourselves on our own. And what that quote seems to suggest is that maybe healing happens in a similar context. Maybe healing happens not when we give up on people, not when we give up on love, trust, friendship, relationships, but maybe healing begins to happen when we actually let people know us in those places, and in those wounds, and in those questions, and when we choose to be vulnerable and just let people meet us in those scenes. And maybe we invite some people to help us make sense of them, to even at times, maybe it's in silence, but just to remind us that, hey, we're not alone in that stuff. People need other people. We need and deserve other people who know us, who love us, and we deserve to be in relationships where that is reciprocated and exchanged. So maybe that's this idea of community. I think a lot of times treatment feels a bit foreign to us to think about, hey, what's counseling, what's treatment if you've never been? And we believe in that. We believe in wisdom and medicine and these tools that exist to help people out of these difficult places. And then community is maybe just this thing that kind of has this really simple introduction. Just, okay, people, as a person, I need a support system. I need some folks that I do life with. And I want to close just with the idea that this whole thing grew out of a story, and so we've learned that stories can be pretty powerful, they can be pretty contagious. There's something about stories that we respond to as people. And what I want to say is that we're not here tonight, again, to try to impress you with the story of a nonprofit that took off, or my friend's story back in Florida, or Denny's story, or Noah's, or mine. But the great privilege and really the goal of why we do this is kind of this attempt at kind of redirecting the lights and the attention and just saying, hey, everybody in the room is living a story. And you're living a story that is entirely unique, and it's priceless, and it's sacred. And maybe it happens one time. It's kind of a separate conversation. But you're living a story, and we have these parts of it that we wish were different. We have these parts of it that we feel haunted by. We have these questions and things that we don't know what to do with. And then on the other side of it, we have these things that make us feel alive, these things that make us laugh, make us smile, people, places, favorite book, film, song, who you have a crush on this week. And so we have these things that make us who we are. And you deserve some other people who know those things about you, who cry over the stuff that deserves to be cried over, who celebrate the stuff that deserves to be celebrated, but people who remind you that all of it matters, and all of it is worth fighting for, and the whole thing is not something to give up on. And that the hope is that you can wake up to a day where it feels worth it, that there's things in life worth staying alive for, that there's this possibility that we can be healthy, that we can be okay, that that's possible, that there's reason to pursue that. And I think what we want to say is just, hey, it's not easy. sobriety is not easy. Going to counseling for the first time is not easy. Being super honest with friends when you've never done that before. You know, I pulled that card out, you know. Saying these things, like saying these things out loud and figuring out who to say it to is not easy. But we believe that it's worth it. And so that's our hope, is that we would live in that way. And people ask us a lot about love because it's in our title, you know, so they're like, oh, you guys must love love. Tell us about love. You know, we're like, what? And you hear that word a million times a day, right? Like, everybody loves everything, and, you know, I love this song, I love this person, I love Taco Bell. You guys have real Mexican food, it's a whole different thing. And so I think we're kind of wrestling through, like, what the heck does that mean? Like, what does love mean, and what does it look like when it costs something, and what does it look like when it's uncomfortable? What does it look like to love someone who lives in a place that I've never been, or that I can't relate to, or that's awkward or embarrassing? What does love look like when it's difficult and it's outside of our comfort zone? And I'm going to leave it there. I want to show you a video that goes back to that was very fast. It goes, can I do anything right now? It just goes back to that Fears versus Dreams campaign that's rooted in these two questions. And it's a quick video. After that, Denny and I are going to come back up and